Good morning, everyone. Welcome to episode 12 of Lift More, Lose More. I need to speak to the right part of the screen because I keep looking over there rather than there. But yes, episode 12, Lift More, Lose More. We are talking lifting today, and a bit more specifically about the deadlift. It's a movement we both use ourselves a lot. Would I say it's both our favourite?
Yeah, I think that'd be a fair shout.
We use it with our clients. If we're talking both strength and fat loss, which these videos are about, it's amazing for both. So yeah, Pete's going to talk through a few coaching points, and then if our editing is good enough,
we'll
very
see.
soon after this, we're going to go through the lift and basically show you how to do it. So over to you, sir.
Yeah, like Scott said, the deadlift's a massive part of both our coaching and our training. There's a lot of different ways to deadlift, a lot of different variations and a lot of opinions on things. So we're going to try and show you the basics, not a one size fits all, but the rules that will apply to most deadlifts. So if you come in and you follow all these rules, you're gonna be in a good position. There's certain things with the deadlift, because you're putting such a great load through your body, and it is the lift that allows you to probably shift the most weight, you have to get things right. If you're not doing things properly, you do risk a little bit of injury, but it's easily avoided by doing things correctly, and it's not a difficult thing to do once you've just had a little bit of practice with it and you've got the correct cues. You'll see deadlifts done sumo, conventional, narrow feet, things, all this. We're going to run through a conventional deadlift, and I'll talk through it step by step. There's a few points that I go through with all my clients, a few little cues that I've heard over time and been taught myself that work really well, and we're going to try and demonstrate them in the video. Little checklist. So if you are deadlifting, you want to basically think about if you've ever done manual handling at work. If you've ever done manual handling at work, you'll do the video and it'll tell you to always keep your chest up and keep the weight close to your body. It's the safest way to lift, and that's the way I basically describe the deadlift. You want to keep the weight nice and close to your body, keep your chest up and lift with your legs, glutes and lower back rather than just your lower back. There's a lot of back snapping deadlifts on YouTube. If you look for gym fails, there's quite often deadlifts involved. So we're going to try and avoid that and give you all the setup. Basic cues. It was a list of cues now, and we'll go through.
Yeah, like I say, I think now Pete's going to list certain coaching cues, and then as we go into the video, we'll talk you through them as we're going along as well.
Yeah, so the first one for me, I generally always start a deadlift with an Olympic plate. So we've got a bumper plate. That way the bar always starts at the same height and it's off the floor. I don't like using the small plates because it makes you go lower. And I don't like using the block plates because they're all slightly different sizes, so our setup ends up differently all the time. First setup point for me is to get your feet underneath the bar. You've got to be nice and close to that bar, and I generally teach, I'm a tall guy, so I have to become a little bit further back than other people. But basically the bar's going to run across your shoelaces, where you tie the knots in your shoelaces. Going to come down into the position of the bar. We're going to go double overhand grip, so both hands just grabbing with palms facing to the bar and fist facing forward, just slightly wider than your shins. You don't want to be outstretched really wide. It's got to be nice and tight in. Keep it nice and smooth and nice and tight. Once we've done that, we're going to engage the lats. So if I engage my lats, what I'm doing is, if you've ever lifted with Olympic plates, you'll hear a little click when the bar gets tension against the plate. So all I'm doing is just taking that tension off. I'm going to engage my lats by pulling my shoulder blades back. One of the best cues I've ever seen for this was pretend your armpits are getting tickled. We've all been tickled with armpits, and you do that straight away. So if you tuck your armpits in, you cover your armpits, you're going to pull your shoulder blades back and you're going to be in a pretty solid position. What happens is the lat runs all the way down the spine, so it supports both sides. If that's tense, my spine is then going to stay nice and straight and supported. If I've got a loose back and I'm leaning forward when I start, my spine's going to roll as I come up. I want to pull that tension in, and then I press with my legs. So the actual push comes from my legs. My arms are straight, my lats are engaged, and as I come up, all I'm thinking is my chest up and my hips through. So I don't want to push my hips up first. My chest is going to come up with my hips at the same time. Shoulder and hip move together till we stand in, squeeze the glutes, fully locked out position, and then return back to the floor. I'll highlight all them points in the actual demonstration, but if you follow that little step, you won't go far wrong. Anything?
No, not really. Probably just something which we will touch upon in the video, which Pete probably didn't mention there, is the returning the bar to the floor bit. So once you are in that top position, you still need to concentrate on your lats being engaged, and then the first movement is backwards with your hips. But yeah, we'll explain all that in a minute.
Yeah, it follows the same principle, keeping the bar close to your body. You don't want to be leaning away with the bar, where a lot of people say they'll get back pains putting the bar down. So I'll demonstrate that, how you keep that, and get your knees out of the way and your hips out of the way, and return the bar. Yeah,
so for now, that's about it. If we cock the editing up, this is the last you'll see of us.
Yeah, so it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, so we'll say goodbye now, and hopefully we'll see you in about 2 seconds on the gym floor. Bye. Welcome back, everyone, to episode 12, Lift More, Lose More. We are in the spin studio of Pure Gym Exchange Key. So we're just going to go through the coaching cues that Pete mentioned earlier. So we're going to start from approaching the bar. So if Pete walks up to the bar, we're going to have our feet around hip width apart. Basically, imagine if you was to do a vertical jump as high as you can in the air. That is roughly where you want your feet to start. So as Pete mentioned earlier, feet underneath the bar roughly around mid-foot, around the shoelaces. So from there, Pete's going to grab the bar. So just outside hip width, overhand grip. Do you want to show a mixed grip while you're down there?
Yeah, a mixed grip. So overhand is great when I start. As the bar gets heavier, the bar spins. So all you do for that is just switch to one hand round. So if I switch to one hand round, all I do is I pull the bar into myself, stops the bar slipping out. For all warm-up sets and lighter weights, I always go double overhand.
Right, so grab the bar, and from there we are then engaging the lats. So Pete will now imagine he's being tickled, pulling the shoulders back and down. And from there, bracing the abs, and then you're basically pushing through the feet, bringing your chest and hips up at the same time. And as I mentioned before, to lower, you're keeping them shoulders back and down, the lats engage, and the first movement is back with the hips, keeping the knees away from the bar. And from there, in the bottom position, you're basically repeating that whole process. Just relax there a minute, mate. And should we do one where you take the slack out of the bar so you can hear the snap?
Yeah.
So do you want to talk through that as well?
Yeah, so you might not be able to hear it there. As Scott said, engage the lats is a little click. All that does, as I said about covering the armpits, you'll hear it as I come down. So down, grab my grip, and as I engage my lats, you'll just hear a little click. I don't know if you'll hear it on the camera, but it's in there. And that's where we're coming from. What a lot of people do, as they come down, they try to ramp themselves up, try and ramp up the deadlift, and this happens. And the arms bend. And then there's no tension in that bar, and as you pull up, that's when you get your kick in your back. Always make sure you're taking the tension out and then push through the legs. You're not speeding up a lift, you're actually driving through the legs. Put down, tension in, drive.
Right, from if you just go back to that top position, if you just show what would happen if they lowered the bar without engaging their lats. So Pete will come up to the top, and then from there, lower, yeah, basically that. So that's what we mean by engaging the lats and keeping a neutral spine. If you allow your shoulders to round, basically your spine follows with it. Anything else we need to cover?
No, I think that's it. It's a lot for deadlift.
Right, well, you're on your own. Give a Deli Alley wave on your own. I'll come around here. See you next week, everyone. Bye-bye.